Okay, I am going to record the session today, which means I will try my best to remember to read the questions back when they are asked. The first thing I want to do is go through some of the Forex pairs. And if you notice, I have TradeStation opened over on the left, and then over on the right I'm actually monitoring the currencies using the THD meter. Now, the reason I wanted to really focus on the Forex this morning is we may have some really good movements in Forex. If you see, the Swiss franc is beginning to be oversold at the moment. That's the Swiss franc. The dollar is still going up, okay? But when you look at the Swiss franc and considering that it's oversold and the ADX on the 45-minute is at 74, that tells me we may have a retracement back to the ATR, okay? So in this case, if it decides to retrace and that magenta peak comes in, you would look to the 3-minute. It would flip the ATR from blue to red, and then it would go back and it would test that ATR on diverging volume, okay? Now, the other thing, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up in TradeStation is because of their radar screen capabilities. You can see we have the THD potential entry here. We also have the previous bar trend, the current bar trend. We have ticks to the ATR, so I know at any time how far are we from the ATR in ticks. Okay, and we also have the congestion highlighter. Now, earlier this morning I posted on, I believe it was on my Google Plus page or my Facebook page. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. We had a really beautiful Swiss franc trade, and do you see how it was in a congestion area? That would have been highlighted in the radar screen, so you would know that you were right at the ATR, so you would just analyze the volume. There was also another one on the Euro US dollar. You can see it was in the congestion zones. These, when you learn to trade them, they'll probably be your favorite trades. You're at the ATR, you saw the congestion dot down here, so that's a very, very low risk entry point, whether you're using a spread or the actual Forex pair. The British pound 180-minute chart, you also see that it's in the congestion zone, also on a congestion zone on the 45-minute. So to me, I wanted to really highlight that because those are some really good trades that are very, very low risk, and it identifies very easily where it's going to go. So for example, on the Euro Yen, the 1440, it's showing a congestion zone. Now, the problem is this is not at the top and it is not at the bottom. Over on the 180, do you see how it's at the bottom? There's some yellow, white dots down here. And let me click on that and shrink the price up. Do you see the line of white dots here? Typically when we see that, we know that it would go back to the ATR. The only thing we would need to do is monitor the volume. Now, I don't like TradeStation Forex volume. I love the radar screen, but I don't like the volume in Forex. So I do use NinjaTrader with Candlestick data feed for Forex to monitor my volume. Does everyone understand that? And really, the simplest reason I can tell you is that Forex has no central exchange. So the volume that you get is from the volume of the Forex broker that you're using. With Candlestick, they use FXCM. So if you're using FXCM, you know, that's one of the biggest brokers out there for Forex. So you're getting a lot more volume than with TradeStation. Okay? Let's see, now that we went over the euro yen, we could also look at the 180-minute chart. Well, we are. I forgot I had it up there. The euro British pound, also you've got a row of congestion dots here, and this is one that you could have taken, probably yesterday. You have the line of congestion dot here at 79.77, and it is down to 79.37 right now. Okay, and that was a really good one because you had the wide bar and it stopped right at the congestion dot. Well, we also know that typically what happens on a wide bars typically retrace, because this is potential for it to retrace back to the ATR, plus you have a wide bar saying, hey, you're probably going to retrace. That would have been a very low risk entry point even on the 1440. Okay, we could go up to the Aussie dollar. Okay, you see you have the line of congestion dots down here. Okay, now this is the mistake, and I want to show it because this really applies. Most people would wait for this confirmation bar. Okay, if I was looking at the volume and I had volume divergence here, that's where I would enter. The close of that bar was 92.94. Okay, so make sure that you're setting off of the congestion dot, but as you can see, it's already bounced up from that point. Okay, we can also look at the Aussie yen. You've got congestion over on the 1440. You've got congestion on the 720, and you have congestion on the 180. Again, using the same thing that we've been talking about. You have an entry here, you have another entry over here, then you had an entry over here. All of it, well, actually you could have entered here, here, or here. Now, if you entered over here, I would venture to say the low of this bar is 95.28. The entry here was 95.52. Depending on what type of stop, you could have been stopped out, but I wouldn't have had any problems re-entering. Okay, does everybody see that? If you went to the 45-minute, you didn't have an entry here because by the time you could have got into that, the risk would have been too great. So that is not an entry there. Okay? So the radar screen really just gives you a way to zoom in on the Forex pairs that you have potentials on. Now, I've got my meter set to 45-minute, but we can set it to any period we want to. I set it to 45 because I intraday trade Forex a lot. But if I wanted to longer term trade it, I could set it to the 1440 or the 720, and then I could see the overbought and oversold areas on all of the currencies as well as the strength. You can see this morning the dollar has been moving up, the euro has been weak, the Canadian has been weak, and the Swiss franc has been very weak. Okay, and now it's at the point that we could get a retracement off of those. Does everybody understand that? Now, it also highlights when we get the magenta peaks. For example, right now on the British pound, we've had a magenta peak come in, and it should actually retrace back up to the ATR. Now, what has to happen for that to occur? Price has got to find an area on the lower time frames that's going to support a move up to 69.92 as it stands right now. I think it's going to end up being around 69.50 when it's all said and done, because the ATR does move with price. So that means right now I would be looking probably at a 90-minute chart, and I'll just change this one to 90. Because this is a 1440, you want this to flip the ATR, come back to test the ATR, has to be on diverging volume, and then that would be your entry. So my guess is you probably had an entry at 3:30 this morning. The close on that bar was 68.54, and you're now, the high has been 68.86. That's what we would be anticipating, and still more to come. What can stop price? This ATR that is on the 720. Okay, if it offers resistance, then it will not complete the retracement on the 1440. Does everyone understand that? All right, let's go over, and I've got crude up this morning. And on crude, there's a potential. Yes, if you see at resistance that the volume is building, Jim, get out of it. Okay? Don't sit with it. If that volume does not increase, they will not break that ATR. They have to come in strong to break it. And it can still bounce, James. Okay? Even if it's on increasing volume, it can bounce, but typically then it will continue up. All right, now let's look at crude. You have a potential, okay, for a magenta peak to come in here. Right now this is pretty flat. If it remains flat, expect it to come back and test 97.08. If it becomes a peak, which means a pointed top, then you expect the retracement back to the ATR. Right now the ATR is 101.73. Don't get all excited because that's going to pull down with price. Depending on how fast price moves, it could pull down to 101 area. Okay. Now again, you could bring up a 90-minute chart, and that's what I have over here. It's coming back to the ATR right now. If it approaches this ATR with an increase in selling volume, then it's going back down more likely than not. Okay? Now, if you're not trading that, what you need to be aware of is, hey, we may get a magenta peak. We do have a magenta peak down here on the 720. Okay? So we're expecting price to complete a retracement right now as it stands to 99.59. Okay? Now, this is an area I would be putting on, oops, wrong chart. I'm going to have to shrink this one up. And I would put 99.59 over on my lower time frame. Okay? And the reason is that's just a reminder that we have an ATR there that could potentially act as resistance if price begins to move up. Then we go up here to the 180. We have a congestion dot at 98.86. Again, I would put that on here. Right there to let me know that's a potential area again for resistance. But we also have an area that may support price at 97.74. Again, just snap a line on here. And remember, this is an ATR. It's a plus sign, so it will move with price. Okay? We're forming a congestion dot right now intra-bar at 98.10. So again, put that value on here because you don't know which one is actually going to give it support, okay? It is trying to find support right now to go up. It has not found it yet. Do y'all understand that? Now you've pretty much outlined the areas that will support or resist a price movement. Any questions on crude? Right. As it approaches these lines, read your volume, okay? Because the volume does give you a heads up on what may be happening, okay? All right, let's go over and okay, Chris, you said when it finds support, we go to the 3-minute and wait for an ATR flip. No, the waiting for an ATR flip is off of a magenta peak. Okay? Now, in the case of crude on the 720, you go down to the 45-minute when it's testing the ATR. Okay? On the 1440 magenta peak, you would be on the 90-minute. Okay? So don't confuse the magenta peak test with what we're doing right now. All right, let's go look at gold real quick. Let me delete all of the lines on here so we don't get confused with the lines. Okay, as it stands right now, gold is going down on the 1440. It's going down on the 720. It has an ATR right up above it at 1295. Now, I would put that on there just in case we have an upward movement. I know as it stands right now, there is resistance at that level. We flip the ATR over here on the 45-minute. We have a congestion dot at 1288.9. So as it stands right now, there's nothing in the way of price going down to 1288.9. Does everybody see that? In other words, there's nothing in the way for this to move down to 1288.9. So I would be looking to go short until it gets there. Yeah, give me just a minute and let me arrange some of my windows here. I've got so many windows open this morning. James is asking if we could check out a binary spread that may work for that. So, let's go to bull spreads for gold. And you could go out to the daily. Price is at 1290.8 right now. And I'm going to pull this window over so y'all can see it. Now, which way do you expect it to go? Up or down? We expect it to go down, correct? Alright, where is price at? Price is at 1290. So I'm looking on the right side of these for the price that is closest to the ceiling, as it's called. Okay? So what you would have right now would be this one at 1300. That's the one that is closest to price, okay? And you're going to pay $12.90, well, $12.90.3. That's what the bid is. So you're going to pay the difference between this number and this, which is basically 10 points. Okay? Right. You would sell the 1300 because that's the ceiling. It would be $10 of risk. You know that it should come down to 1288. Okay? If you click on it, Jim, it tells you. Hold on and let me go into my simulator because that's my live account. Let me go into simulator and I can actually show you better. Okay? Because simulator uses the same data, but it doesn't mess up my live account. Which, you know, I kind of appreciate. And let me get it back up. And ooh, wrong one. Alright, now move this over just a little bit. So we're on gold. Now we're on the daily, okay? So let's say that we're going to sell the daily at, where's it at? 1300 here, okay? So when you open up the ticket, okay, your maximum loss is $93. Your maximum profit is $407. Do you see that? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sell this because now I'm in simulator mode, so I don't care. Now, this expires at 1:30 today, okay? We could also go into the 8 to 10 a.m. and look to see if they have one that's even closer to price, and they do. They have one at $12.97 as the ceiling. Do you see that? They also have $12.90, so we could go into that one. In this case, we're risking $10 to make $140. Do you see that? Did I not place the order? Okay. I don't know why that's still there. I might be in two contracts now because I wasn't paying attention. Yep, I am. Now, what I want you to notice is that you're in three positions now. One that expires at 1:30, which is when this market closes on gold. So you have 5 hours and 8 minutes for this to occur. The other one, you only have 1 hour and 38 minutes for it to occur. Does everybody understand that? Alright, this is the way it works. And for this one, I'm going to put the lines in a different color. We did $12.90, okay? So I'm going to put a line here at $12.90. And I'm going to have to change the color. Properties. We'll make it indigo. Okay. This is the ceiling. Okay. Now, the floor on that one, if you come over here and look, is at $12.75. So now I'm going to put another line at $12.75. Okay, and I'm going to change this to a different color. And we'll make it fuchsia. Okay. Now, This purple line right here, this is your ceiling, this is your floor, okay? So if price at the U.S. opening comes all the way down to here, then from your entry price, which is 1289, okay, to 1275 is your profit potential. Do you understand that? Now, let's say that price goes up, okay? And let's say that it comes up here to 1300. Your risk is limited to where you entered at 1289.2 to this purple line. Do you understand that? And remember, it was $10. It told us that on entry. That is your risk. That's the most that you would possibly lose, even if this goes up to 1300. Does everybody understand that? Now, a lot of times what I do, and again, I use a lot of lines because they're very visual. So I can come up here, right here, and I can mark this in another color. Let's go long green, okay? So that line right there in lime green, which is very, very light green, that tells me where my entry was. Does everybody understand now? Now, why would you do this? Because gold is very volatile. Most traders cannot trade gold just because it's so volatile. And, I mean, it's nothing to lose $300 in gold. Of course, trading 3 contracts. But, think about it. You could do the same thing in the spreads while you're limiting your risk at the same time. That's what I like about the spreads. Because let's face it, one of the biggest obstacles for anybody as a trader is having a loss and being scared to pull the trigger the next time. And I think it, kind of promotes a logical thinking mindset as well. If you think about, okay, this is my profit potential, this is my risk potential, isn't that more logical thinking than, oh, I just think it's going to move up, so I'm entering? And that's what most traders do. They think about the profits, but they don't think about the losses, okay? No, it's not out of the money, it's in the money, because you were at 1290 and the top was at 1300. The other one was at 1289 and it was 1290. So both of these are in the money. There is no 10 p.m., James. And really, it just depends on how much you want to risk more than anything. Sometimes I'll do all the bull spreads that I can enter. And what I mean by that, when I know it's going in a certain direction, okay, there's 3 here that you can actually enter. There's a 8 a.m. to 1:30, and then a daily, which is at 1:32. Okay, so that's 3 potentials that you have there, and if you know that it's going to move down and you can get a good price, with meaning you're getting a very low risk entry point, then yeah, I would do all 3. It's hard to do that, but there are times that I've done it. This is the 1:30 p.m. If we go to the 8 a.m., See, 8 a.m. you've got one with the ceiling at 12.90. So that's going to have 3 points of risk. So that's $23. Okay, maximum profit is $377. Now, it doesn't mean that it will move the entire time. Okay? It just means that that is the maximum profit that you will make. Okay? So, I mean, like in this case, on this one, you now have, well, it's a working order evidently. Let me bring up working orders. Yeah. Alright. Let's delete that one. And we'll do it again and see if it gets in. Okay, we'll just, there. Now it's filled. Alright, now, this is a good example, Jim. You've got 3 expirations, 2 at the same time and 1 at 10 o'clock. Now, do you understand? Now, you don't do it without your setup there, guys, okay? I'm showing you so you will learn how to use the spreads. This happened to be a good example. Why? Because there was nothing in the way of a good trade, as we say, or as I say, whichever one you want. And you can exit at any time. Let's say that you said, okay, I'm going to take my $11 and get out of here. You just click here and you exit. That's it. And the cost of that trade would have been round trip $1.80. Right. That's very important, is that you're very close to price, at least for me. Now, there are other people that trade these spreads that, you know, they'll do it even if it's deep in the money, Dan. I'm not one of them that do that. I want to use the advantage of risk to reward when I'm trading the spreads. Okay? So does everybody understand that? It just shows you, you know, it very easily a great way to use the spreads to your advantage. Okay? Alright, now let's move over to the DAX. Now, the DAX is one, and I'm going to tell you right now, 9,200 was the magical number yesterday. Just trying to see if there was a better area to put the 9,200 on. So yesterday, remember we were anticipating this to retrace back to the ATR, okay? And it did not, because on the 12 minute, when it approached the ATR, let me see where it was yesterday. It flipped the ATR, came up here to the congestion dot, then came back to the ATR. The volume was not diverging. In fact, you had just as much volume as what you had over here. So that told me more likely than not it's going to go back down. And so I actually took the 9,200, and when it went down, I actually was able to profit from that. But again, this was the magical level, was that 9,200, because they flirted with it and flirted with it and flirted with it, and they finally broke it. So I ended up, I think, on that trade somewhere around $10. I can't remember exactly. So that was just another way. I was expecting it to go up, but when I saw that the volume was not decreasing like it should, then I opted to wait. If you think it's going down, you always have to sell the ceiling, Dan. Always. Now, you could have done both. You could have sold the ceiling at 9,200 and sold the floor at 9,200. I mean, bought the floor at 9,200. All right, now, let's go through and see what we think is going to happen today and put all of the wonderful levels on that may stop price or support price. We don't know yet, okay? 1440 is going down. 720 minute is going down, but be aware that this is at 80.47. That's pretty high, okay? On the 180 minute, we have not completed that retracement. That retracement is 92.82. So let me shrink this up. Close enough. All right. We also, over here, we have a line of congestion dots at 92.50. And we have an ATR at 91.69. So, what I would be looking at right now, in addition to that, would be this line of horizontal dots here. Do you see how they're coming back and testing this? They've done it, you know, quite a few times now. Doesn't seem to be any sellers in here. So this may actually go up to 92.50. Now, what would you do with that? Well, if you want a really low risk trade on that, you go over to the indices. You go to the DAX, which is the German 30, okay? Go out to the 8 a.m., 4 p.m., okay? What number is closest to price? Price right now is at 91.88. 91.88. The closest I have is 9,200 on this one. Okay, do we have anything on the 8 a.m. that's closer? We've got 91.75. It's going to give you about 20 points here. And that's about the only one that I would see that you would do. Right now, I would kind of sit and wait and see if it comes closer to this lower line down here. Do y'all see that? Because that would give me less risk. Alright, we can also go out to the daily, okay? Which number is closest to price? We have 9,000, 9,000, 9,200. This is the closest one to price. You're going to have a 15 point risk right now. Again, if this comes down to this line, it will get closer, okay? So right now is just not the time to enter that. Do y'all see that? All right, now let me show you another I don't know if they have anything available, but I'm going to look on Germany 30 on the daily. All right, now these are the binaries. These are not the spreads, okay? We think that this is going to come down to 91.71 or 91.83, whichever one it is. Then the next support area is up here at 92.50, correct? If these areas support it, yes, it will go up. If they do not support it, no, it will not go up. Now, we're expecting it to test these two areas, okay? But we don't want to risk a lot of money on the binaries, okay? And we are expecting a market report at 10 o'clock this morning. I can't take away the Nadex. Then I couldn't show them what I'm trying to show them, Desmond. Okay, so in this case, we could trade a very cheap binary, and let me show you. We're going to go out of the money, okay? Because the DAX moves more than any of the U.S. indices, okay? So in this case, if I go up to 92.20 or 92.30, that is closer than 92.50, correct, guys? Okay, I've got one at 92.20. So I can actually buy that binary for $33 with the potential of making $67. And it has all day to do it. Okay? And that's just another way that you could potentially trade the binaries, because you're going out of the money because we've already outlined where it should go to. Okay? So if this actually supports it, then we're expecting it to go up. Okay? The congestion dot is over here. Okay? It should go up. That's what we're anticipating, right? So that's a cheaper way to get into the binary. Those do not happen every day. You need to make sure that you have support in these areas, Chris. Yes. Oh yeah, it's far from price, but the one market that can do it is the DAX. Well, your most risk on that one is $33. Okay, Jim? So let's say that it decides to go down, and you've got a $20 loss. You would exit it if that's what your risk style was, I guess is the best way for me to say it. And remember, Jim, it does not have to go to 92.20 to make money, okay? If it starts heading up, the 92.20 will start making money. Do you understand? It has until 4 o'clock today. Because here is where your support is. If it finds support in these two areas, there's nothing in the way until it gets up here. Yeah, I'm paying for time more or less. Jim, do you understand that one? And it's also, we have a market report that's going to move it, Jim. You have a line of congestion dots here. You have an ATR here. Now, you could also, if you really felt like it was going to go down, you could turn around and sell it right here at 91.40. It's at 91.88 and a half. You could sell it at 91.40 with about $25 of risk with a profit potential of 75. No, we couldn't find any at those levels, Chris. It was too far away. And this is why you have to be a shopper when you're trading the binaries. Which ATR is going to be stronger, Arteman? The 45 and the 180 or the 12 minute? Exactly. The 45 and the 180 will be stronger. But let's say that it gets up here and there is just major divergence. Could you exit at that point? Certainly. That's more in along the lines of your risk profile. When comparing the congestion dots with the ATR, which may be the strongest support or resistance, there's no answer to that, Don. Okay? Because, you know, the congestion dots above are going to provide resistance. The ATR below is going to provide support. They work the same. All right. Any questions on the DAX? And, you know, we all know that the market opening, okay, can actually create a lot of volatility, okay? So, you know, could you sell that one for 25 bucks and make money if it pops down and then make money if it pops up? Sure. Okay? You can do that. All right? Now, let me take all of these lines off of my chart so I can start over again with the Dow. We'll do the Dow. Now, market is moving down on the 1440. Market is moving down on the 720. The ADX is at 81. That's oversold. Okay? Just in case you didn't know, that is oversold. Now, we have bounced down from the 180. There's no potential here from magenta peaks. We are at a congestion dot on the 45 minutes, so that's 643. 33. Come on, there we are. So this is the congestion dot from, from the 45-minute chart. We do have an ATR above us at 16,494. And we have one at 16,523. So, as it stands right now, okay, we do not have a magenta peak on the 720 or the 1440. We're going down on the 180. We're at a congestion dot on the 45-minute. This bar does not close until 9 o'clock this morning. That's about 12 minutes away. As it stands right now, if you're looking at the volume, it is diverging, okay? So that tells me, well, it may bounce back up here to the ATR. You will not know for sure until 9 o'clock this morning. Now, if this divergence holds, you could take a position to the long side with the anticipation of it coming back to 16,494. Otherwise, you're in a down day. Everybody understand that? You're extremely oversold on that 12-minute too, because you're at 80. Now, is there any bull spreads available on the Dow? I don't know. I have to go and look. All right. So, where is price in correlation to the bull spread? Okay, let's come up here and let's start at the daily. Okay, is there anything there that we can get ourselves into? No, it's too much risk. Well, this one I would let it come up some more. Let's see about this daily. Nope, 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 nope. I'm on the wrong thing, darn it. Yes, thank you. 440. You could get in this one, but it's going to have to move a lot. Because you're 50 points outside of that floor. I don't see anything there. This one, the only thing you're going to... God darn it. This one, you've got one at 450. You're going to risk 13 points. No, I don't like any of those. So I'm going to close that one, and we'll go look at the binaries to see if there's anything on the binaries. Remember, the binary Dow does not move as much as the DAX. Okay? So let's go out to the daily, and let's see what they have available. Well, I know I don't want anything like that. Okay, you could get 460 for $48. You could get 480, which is a 40-point move on the DAX, for 37. Hold on a moment. Let me see what the DAX is currently moving on a point basis, because I wouldn't want to really go outside of that range. Okay, typically it moves 144 points. Okay, so if I go out to 80, that's a 40-point move. So this one I could probably do. I would have to do the daily because I want to include what? I want to include that market report this morning. Do you understand? I need that market report volatility to get my 16,480. Do y'all see that? So you could actually buy this one for the daily. And then it has all day. If it gets up there, then you made money. Okay. Does everybody understand that now? All right, and this is a great example because you're seeing it on the DAX here. Remember, we went out to 92.20. It's only at 98.98 right now. But a couple of more points and you're going to be in the money on that one. Do y'all understand that now? $480. No, it doesn't. And that's what I'm showing on the DAX right now. And let me go back to the DAX a minute so y'all can see this. It doesn't necessarily have to get there. If you hold it, okay, till the end of the day, yes, it has to close above that area, okay? But remember, we entered this believing that it would go up here to 92.20, okay? Well, price is down here, but probably another 2 points and you just hit in the money, okay? So it doesn't have to get all the way up to here. It does to get the maximum, okay? But that doesn't mean you won't make money if it does not get there, if you're monitoring the trade. I am doing the indices right now, Humphrey. Does everybody understand that now? Right, as time runs and this goes up here, it will still be making money. Does everybody understand that now? Well, let's say that it comes up here and it hits the ATR, okay? In that case, I'm going to start analyzing the volume. Are the buyers stepping into this, okay? If the buyers are stepping into this, okay, I want to stay with it. Otherwise, I may scratch the trade, okay? It's made $2 of profit, which covers the cost of the trade, does it not? Because, I mean, it's only $1.80 per contract round trip. Now, if you hold it until 4:15 and in the DAX it's 4 o'clock, if it is not above 92.20, then yeah, you would lose your $33, okay? But I don't think I've ever told you to just put it on and walk away for the day. Do you understand? I don't obsess over it, but I do watch it during the day. I've got it on my laptop inside of my house because I trade sometimes at night. I've got it set up there where I can actually pull it up and monitor it. Now, when I'm at home, and I wanted to show y'all this because it was something new that Nadex offered, are these charts here. So if you click on it, it actually brings up the chart. And I can actually look at the chart and pretty much tell you where the ATRs are and all. So I can actually monitor my trade just using this because I know pretty much based on price action where the ATRs are. Alright, on the Dow, am I seeing volume divergence on the 45 minutes on the Dow? Hold on, let me bring it up again. You're going to have to wait until 9 o'clock in 2 minutes. So if this holds true, yes, there is divergence from here to here. But you have to wait. It's got to be another 2 minutes. But as it looks right now, yes, there is. You're also getting a magenta peak here, which means it should come back to 16,459. And what did I say, guys? Guys, remind me what I said on the Dow, on the daily. I think it was 480 we were purchasing. Because it would move up 40 ticks. Yeah. And so that one, right now it's at 35. I think earlier it was, what, 30? I don't know. Can't remember all the prices, guys. Yeah, 33. So now you're up to 36. You know, as price moves up, this number increases. One of the other things, I don't know whether you know you can do that. You can click here and say tear off price. And you can just kind of put it over here in a window. You know, that way you can see it at all times. And you can see if it's going up or down. It jumped from 28 to 37 in a split second. Yeah, that's because you had a bar going up. And it does that a lot, Gig. It will jump, I mean, just at the split second. If you go, you can do it from your open positions or from the quote window. And it's tear off price. Okay? And that way you can actually keep it up. Any questions on the Dow, guys? This morning, anything that is a binary, okay, which is like this Germany 30 here, you really need to put order ticket up on it, put in, you know, 95, because remember, this one, we are anticipating what? The market volatility report. And let me tell you, when that report comes up, I can't tell you how many times they'll just pop up there and take that number out. If you got your order in there, then it will do it. I do that a lot on Forex. So, all right, let's go over to the NASDAQ and see what NASDAQ's doing. I love my southern twang on that one. All right, on the 1440, you are in a congestion area. Bottom of the congestion area is 38.59.25. Top of the congestion area is 39.78.50. Here you're moving down. Here you are in a congestion area, and this is the one I think that's this in the 45 minutes going to be the most important ones today. Okay, so the top of my congestion area is 39.17. And the bottom of the congestion area is, we're going to do 38.72. These numbers don't have to be exact. They can be, you know, somewhere in that range, and you're fine. Then down here you have 38.77. Okay, so you've got two levels right now of support for price. Okay, if it breaks through these areas, it will continue down. Okay, I forgot to put this ATR on there. That's at 38.97. Okay, so if it pops down to here, then it has the potential to go back up to here. Okay, it all depends on the volume as it comes to these areas. Is it diverging or not diverging? Do y'all understand? Yeah, if you get a spike, if you have the order already entered, then, you know, it just goes in there and takes you out immediately. Any questions on the NASDAQ? No, I'm not reviewing yesterday's action. I've got to get through this, and then I'm trading at 9:30 this morning. All right, let's go to the Russell, and let me delete all these lines again. All right, on the Russell, you're moving down. You are moving down here. You are not oversold on the Russell. That ADX is not above 70. Oh, yeah, it was a nice trade on the Euro US dollar earlier, too, Mika. I posted a blog on it. On the 180... we have an ATR here at 1121. Down on the 45-minute, we have an ATR at 1121.2. And we also have a congestion dot at 1115. .5, I believe. And you have a magenta peak now, so it tells you it should retrace back to here. If they find support here, and it looks like they did, then it should continue back up to here. It could go to 1121. The important thing to remember, the 45-minute is probably going to determine the market action today. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Does Nadex have like a day trading rule like with stocks with a minimum account of 25? I assume not. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't because when you go into a trade on Nadex, you pay all your risk up front. This is the logical thinking portion of it. Okay? And believe me, you know, when you enter a ticket, and let's go back to the 6480, okay, it's at 31. When I click that, it tells me my maximum loss and my maximum profit. If I were to buy this right now, they are going to deduct the maximum risk out of my account. So I have to have $31 in my account. You're not trading on leverage, okay? Now, to me, that's like going into any store and you're saying, okay, I want to buy this product. This is what it's going to cost me. This is my worst case scenario, okay? And then it may go up and I may make $69. But up front, it's going to cost me $31 in order to enter that trade to potentially make $69. Do you understand that now, Chris? Well, you're right, Chris. It's, you know, similar to buying a lotto ticket, okay? You're investing $5 to potentially make whatever the payout is on the lottery. The difference is your probabilities. And this one is telling you there's a greater possibility of it going up than it is going down. No, actually, it's telling you it's a greater possibility of going down because the bid's at 25.50. Right. Does everybody understand that now? And that is out on a daily too. Yeah, it encourages you to think about your trade, which you should be doing anyway. No, there's just so much that I want to go over in the trading room, Artemin. The zones are good because they tell you historically where the potential support or resistance are. Yeah, we gotta think before we do. Imagine that. We just can't pop in and out. Yeah, it looks like increasing volume at the ATR, but remember on this one, Gig, if this is actually turning the market, you would expect them to increase here. But normally you'll have another one like you did over here, and they increased the volume substantially and didn't get anywhere, Gig. That normally happens on the first one. The first, when it changes and flips that ATR, Gig, a lot of times on that first one, you'll have an increase in volume that didn't get anywhere. Those are harder to pick up, Gig. And they can go against you. I've been there. Okay, we went over the Russell, we went over the Dow, we went over the NASDAQ, we went over gold, we went over the DAX. The ES we didn't do. Well, the reason is, Gig, the Russell is not a true 24-hour market. It doesn't move 24 hours a day. Okay, ES is moving down. You've got a magenta peak with the potential to retrace back to the ATR. Congestion zone on the 180 is at 1920. Top of the congestion zone is 1942. You have a congestion zone here because there is a congestion dot at 1924.50. Okay, 1924. I can't get it exactly there. And then 1931. So right now it's testing to see if it will find support here. Now that delta has gone to the upside on each one of these. Okay, you've made the magenta peak. Buyers, looks like they're coming in strong right now. Okay, it's not quite at the ATR. My guess it would pop up. If the ATR stops it on the verging volume, it's going to go down. Any other questions on that one? We must have been really right on gold. Oh, wrong one. Huh. These are the gold trades that we did earlier. I'd almost wish I was in my live account on those. Yeah. Remember that one that we had $10 of risk on? Now at 10 contracts that would have been $100. I can't remember which one it was though. I can pretty much figure it out from here though. It was on this one. Would you take them now? No. Why? Because you're going to have a lot more risk. Well, you have to pull up the chart. You can't go by the dollars, okay? Then you're trading dollars. You're not trading your charts. Okay. Now it's broken through. One of them, I don't see where I put there's the floor. So we have a lot of room on that one. We should expect a retracement. If you were trading more than one contract, Jim, you could scale out. On these, you're just trading one. And we've got two floors at 12.50, one floor at 12.75. Volume is really strong on this one. You're getting a little bit weak on this one, but I don't see any magenta peaks coming into the picture. The only potential magenta peak I would see would be this one. It would retrace back to the ATR. So if this one started to come in, you could take your profits, because if it comes back to the ATR right now, you could actually re-enter both of them or all three of them. So, it just depends on what you want to do. We actually did it 3 times. We did the daily, we did the 1:30, and then we did the 10 a.m.